Hey, put your hands up, it's the police. You're under arrest for not rating Donkey Kong enough. It doesn't really make sense, but you get what I'm going for. Donkey Kong is amazing. It's so dang good, and basically nobody talks about Donkey Kong ever. He's mostly relegated to weird spin-off games and the occasional 2D platformer, although to be honest, he doesn't even get a whole lot of those anymore. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Anyone who's played Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze will tell you it's basically the best thing ever in 2D platformers and ever. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but every time somebody talks about this game, it's always that it's amazing and not enough people are playing it. So that's why I'm making this very original video about why Donkey Kong is amazing and not enough people are playing it. Wait, something feels off here. Hello all 2,440 of you, I'm Redkwan, and Donkey Kong is criminally underrated. So to demonstrate how criminally underrated Donkey Kong is, I think it's key to look at why it's so good, and also why are there so many idiots who aren't playing it right now, and also why it matters, and also what can be changed about the situation. So the first question is, what about Donkey Kong is so good? But I think a better question is, what about Donkey Kong isn't so good? And the answer is absolutely nothing. Donkey Kong controls like the most graceful ape you ever did see, and every level is super unique and fun. There's always some new gimmicky thing, and they're all really entertaining and fun and unique. And also, you've got levels where you ride in carts, and where you fly in a rocket barrel, and where you ride a rhino through a tornado, and it's pretty challenging too. But it's never frustrating because you're basically always making some sort of progress, and you never really get stuck on a single part for too long. It's just a perfect 2D platformer, and that's just the most recent game, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Donkey Kong Country Returns is great too, and the games on the SNES are classics, and he had a big hit arcade game, and even in the series entries that are less loved, if such a thing exists, we still had gems like the DK Rap. Donkey Kong is one of Nintendo's original characters, one of their most famous characters, and his games, at least recently, have been amazing. And pretty much everybody who's played Tropical Freeze agrees with that. Donkey Kong deserves a lot of attention and praise and donations to his Patreon, but sadly, nobody's donating. Come on you guys, all he needs is $55 a month for his maintenance of his Discord server. You think that comes cheap? I'm actually starting to think this isn't the real Donkey Kong. So why is Donkey Kong so underappreciated and underused? If he has such great games and is such a classic character, why is the series not more popular, and why don't we get entries more often? And I think it's actually a pretty tough question. Obviously, Donkey Kong was big for a while, and on the SNES, he actually got more platformers than Mario, but now he's lucky to get one platformer per console, and it's even possible that his only appearance this generation will be in the port of Tropical Freeze. Why is that? Well, Retro Studios, who made the last two games, is working on Metroid Prime 4 now, so that might be part of it. But if that's the case, what were they doing for the past, 5 years? And even if the reason we might not be getting one this generation is partially due to that, I don't think that's all of it. It may not be the same, but somebody else could definitely make one. And if it was a high priority, Retro probably could have started on a new one in the time before Prime 4. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze came out all the way back in 2014, and you might suspect it's possibly due to the sales. And while that also could be part of it, as Donkey Kong games aren't among Nintendo's best-selling games, I don't think that's it either. Tropical Freeze as a port has sold about as well as the new Kirby game for the Switch, and twice as well as the new Yoshi, Nintendo's other non-Mario 2D platformers. And both of those series, especially Kirby, get fairly consistent releases. It's not on the level of Mario, but it's not really underperforming either, especially for a 2D game. And I actually think, interestingly enough, that both of the things I said weren't problems are actually part of the problem in a slightly different way. I don't think Tropical Freeze is released less frequently because of its poor sales, but I think its infrequent releases have caused it to have fewer fans and probably sell less well. And I don't think the sales are stopping more games from getting made, because I think they're actually alright for a 2D platformer, but I think the fact that Donkey Kong Country is a 2D platformer is probably capping its sales. There are only so many people who are willing to buy a fully priced 2D game these days, especially if it doesn't have Mario, and especially if it's a challenging game. Kirby and Yoshi can still do pretty well because of how accessible they are, but Donkey Kong has to survive on pure gameplay alone. It's gotta be so crunk amazing that people just have to buy it. And that's tough to do, especially when it's not a series Nintendo promotes a whole lot either. With releases this often, and it being a challenging 2D platformer that doesn't have Mario in it, this might be about as well as it can do. And while the sales aren't too bad for a 2D platformer, I have a feeling Donkey Kong Country games take a lot more work than something like Yoshi or Kirby does, so it would need to be more popular than those to get the same return. Is this as good as it can get though? I don't really think so. I think to expand it further, Donkey Kong has a couple of options. Either it can release more frequently to get some more fans, which I think would boost it a little, or the much riskier method is to go back to 3D. I think if Donkey Kong 64 had been received better, Donkey Kong might still be a big 3D series today. But because it had a lot of problems, even the greatness of the DK rap couldn't save it. We got the weird DK Bongo game on the GameCube before coming back to 2D. And that's where he's been ever since. But I think Donkey Kong still has a lot of potential in 3D, and I think if given another chance in the extra dimension and put in the right hands, Donkey Kong could be a pretty incredible success. People are always on the search for new 3D platformers because there aren't that many nowadays, and if one came out from Nintendo that was as good as the recent country games have been, it would be a huge deal. Donkey Kong is still a very well-known character, and it could only benefit Nintendo to have his series be bigger, and I think going back to 3D might be the way to go for that. And they should keep doing country games too, because as we've discussed thoroughly, Donkey Kong is the greatest thing going ever. But I do think he deserves another shot in 3D because he's so ridiculously underrated. And this might be the best chance for Donkey Kong to gain a lot more fans. And also because we need another rap to add to the DKLP. Well, I'm Redkwan. Do you think Donkey Kong is stupidly underrated like me? Do you think there should be another 3D Donkey Kong game? Are you supporting Donkey Kong on Patreon? Come on, he needs money for his Discord server. Anyways, I'm Redkwan, thank you all for watching, and I'll hopefully see you all later. Goodbye.
Hey, look, we're going over there. Making new videos so you better behave. Oh, hey, that's right, you see. Quan through and through in a Zambo.